Okay, so I, 54 female, have 5 kids, 3 bio and 2 stepkids. The issue is with my eldest, Clem, who is 26 female. The only pictures I have of Clem are from the day she was born to around her primary school, but none after that. She would ruin any picture she was in by making funny faces, hiding from the camera, making weird signs with her hands, or by messing with other people. It was like this until she was older when she started to straight up refuse. We would tell her to come for the family photo, but she would refuse. We never forced her, but would gently encourage her. She even refused school pictures. I have no pictures of birthdays, graduations, prom photos, holidays, or days out with her in them. It broke my heart because I don't have any pictures of her growing up. Family photos look odd because she's not in them. Clem is 26 now and is pregnant with her first child. She brought her SO over for dinner, and after, we were looking at photo albums. We got to hers, and she saw hers was nearly empty. She asked where all her pictures were, and I told her she refused to have any taken. She got all teary-eyed and told me to stop joking. At this point, I'm very annoyed. I tell her I'm not joking and that she did this to herself. I told her if she had swallowed her pride and had even one picture, we wouldn't be like this today. She got angry and thought I had printed out the ones that she messed up. She got super upset and went to sit in the car. The next day, today, I got a few texts from family members calling me an idiot for putting her on blast and humiliating her. Am I the idiot? Whilst I agree it was an awful move not to include the goofy or rude pictures, that's not what Clem has an issue with. She's upset that I have no pictures of her, and the few I do have caused extreme reactions from Clem. I can't fill an album with pictures I never took. That's what she's upset about, not the omission of goofy, rude photos. Info: how is this just now coming up? Are you saying that there are family photos hanging in your home that do not include your daughter? Is she really just looking at this photo album for the first time at 26 years old? Yes. None of the family photos include my daughter. We would bring them out at Christmas and stuff, but she would always cringe, say she didn't want to or care, and went to her room. I've told her previously that her album is pretty scarce, but I guess she wasn't aware to the scale. You are not the idiot. I hate having my picture taken, and I look awkward in all photos taken of me, but I now at 22 have realized the consequences of my actions, and I try really hard to get pictures of myself. I used to have long hair to my knees, and now it's above my shoulders. I have no photos of my long hair because I would pin it back or shy away from the camera. You were wrong if you did and wrong if you didn't in this situation. If you placed a screaming child in front of the camera, she would basically never trust you, and now you have a crying adult asking why you respected her wishes. That's what's so confusing to me. I could have easily made her take part in every shoot, no matter how she was feeling, or having panic attacks, but that's awful. That's going to mess her up psychologically. Now that the time has passed and I respected her wishes, I'm the bad guy for not forcing her to take them? You are the idiot, not because of the pictures, but because of how you handled it. She was already crying, and instead of saying, I get it, it stinks, or showing any kindness, you got annoyed and said, you did this to yourself? That's unnecessarily rude, and you can apologize for how you acted. She knows the lack of photos isn't your fault, but the lack of compassion is. You are all idiots here. 1, you lied. You do have photos of her when she was a kid. You just don't like them, which is terrible. Kids are sometimes weird when it comes to photos. You could have put every photo she messed up in her album, so that way she has something to look at. Also, it is her fault for not having any school photos or being in any family photos. So, I was talking on Zoom to my mom and sister Jen, fake name. At one point, my boyfriend came in and handed me some tea, as I had killer menstrual cramps and tea helps. When Jen saw this, she said my boyfriend's actions were offensive to women, and treating me like a fragile princess was enabling me. She said her husband doesn't help her, whether she's well or sick, and that's how a partnership between equals works. This made me mad. My boyfriend is a sweetheart, and he understands that this time can be painful for me, so he helps out in whatever way he can. I told Jen that when I'm well, I'd take care of him as well, pack his lunch. His office has reopened, but my college classes are still online. I make him breakfast, etc. She got even more angry and congratulated me for becoming a 1950s housewife. This was crazy. I love taking care of my boyfriend, but that doesn't mean I'm giving up on my career. It's just that I'm a morning person, so I handle morning chores. He does nighttime chores. Jen went on and on about how offended she was until I left the call. Later, my mom, unbeknownst to me, texted boyfriend and asked him to stop helping me out whenever I was on Zoom because it upsets Jen. He didn't take her seriously, at which point she said he, an outsider, was disrupting internal family matters. This is the man who has made it abundantly clear that the minute our financials are in order, he's asking me to marry him. He lost it and said he'll take care of whoever he pleases in his own house. So, this is where it might have gone into idiot territory. As my mom persisted, boyfriend said he had to look out for me since no one in my family would. This is not very far from the truth. Mom thinks older children always get the short end of the stick and has overcompensated by going the other way. E.g., I wasn't allowed to cry as a kid because younger children get it easier. So my problems were nothing in comparison to Jen's. I had to share my birthdays and milestone events with her so that she didn't feel bad. This used to hurt, but I've made my peace with it. Now my extended family is blowing up my phone, saying we were rude and hurt mom's feelings. I got a text from my mom saying she did her best to be a good parent, but she was only human. This made me feel terrible, to be honest. But then she added that she expected boyfriend to apologize to her and Jen on Zoom in front of the entire extended family. I lost it. I'm not going to make him apologize for taking care of me just because they feel offended by it. So am I the idiot for not making my boyfriend apologize to my mom and sis? What did I just read? You are not the idiot, and your boyfriend should most definitely not apologize to your family. If anyone in this situation should apologize, it's your sister for her crazy rant and your mom for going behind your back to tell your boyfriend he shouldn't do nice things for you. You and your partner are in a loving relationship in which you take care of each other. If they find that weird, they need to take a long, hard look at their own relationship. My spidey senses are telling me the sister is super salty that her husband treats her like crap, and I'm utterly confused that OP's husband bringing her a cup of tea makes her a fragile princess, but the mother and family berating the boyfriend not to upset the sister is somehow normal? You are not wrong, OP. You are not the idiot. You would be one if you tried to make this your boyfriend's problem. This is a family problem. The dynamic around Jen as the golden child has been well established. They emotionally mistreated you as a child, and they are continuing to do so now. Your mom's guilt tripping and employing extended family to pressure you further is not healthy or normal behavior. For her part, it sounds like Jen is miserable in a loveless relationship and wanted to take that out on you and your boyfriend. Not your circus nor your monkeys. Pay it no attention. This is firmly a them problem, not a boyfriend or you problem in any way. I, nearly adult girl, suffer from several medical conditions, one of which is fainting. We're still trying to figure out why this happens, but it does. I have a service dog who is honestly the light of my life. He has saved me in so many ways, and I'm forever grateful. I live with my dad, but recently he's been hospitalized, and it's not safe for me to be alone, so I'm staying with my mom, her husband, and their kids. They refuse to acknowledge that my dog works. They constantly try to overfeed him or give him food he's not allowed, and are always trying to distract him. No matter how much I tell them to leave it, they won't. He's almost missed several cues, and I am getting increasingly worried. If I were to have a seizure and he has not alerted me beforehand, I could very easily fall and hit my head too hard. So the other day, they were once again fussing over him after I had told them several times to leave him alone. I went to walk over and remove him from them when my vision went blurry. This is a sign of a fainting spell. And when I can tell I'm about to have them, I usually sit back down. I decided against it, and as one would imagine, fainted. I hit the ground pretty hard and had a headache, but most of the impact was on my arms. Even through this whole thing, my stepdad held my dog back while my mom tried to figure out what was wrong. I snapped and told him to give my dog back once I came around, and have since decided I'll take my chances living alone for a while. My dad found out I was planning on going back home and called to ask why. I explained what had happened, and he asked why I had allowed myself to faint on the floor. He knows I can usually feel them coming, and I explained that I wanted to see if they would actually let my dog do his job. I'd rather faint in a more controlled way than have a seizure and not know if they're going to help me. I guess my brother heard and basically told his parents, both of which blew up at me for scaring them. Yelling triggered my PTSD, and they once again refused to let my dog near to help. I have since left, and everyone is blowing up my phone, calling me an evil witch for scaring them like that. My dad said I shouldn't have done it, and says I need to make up with them so I can go back, because he doesn't want me staying alone. I reiterated that even if I stay with them, I'm at the same amount of risk, because they won't help. At least here I have access to my dog. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I find it hard to believe that you are even close to being the idiot in this situation. Your family is incredibly disrespectful to you. As much as I hate the idea of you being alone, you are right. It would be a lot safer for you that way. Your father is not that bad, and a part of me feels like he's only saying that because he doesn't want you to be alone, not because he agrees. Your other family is terrible. They refuse to acknowledge your illness, the fact that your dog is not a play, enjoyment dog. They did not even try to help you when you fainted. Overall, they sound like horrible people. Although fainting may not have been a safe way to find this out, at least you did it in a somewhat controlled environment and before something more serious were to happen to you. You are not the idiot. I doubt you would have time to think it through during the circumstances anyway. Also, you didn't fake it. You simply didn't take your usual precautions. It's incredible that that side of your family can't wrap their minds around the fact service dogs are not pets. Exactly. What part of a service dog is not a pet do they not get? And here OP has told them what not to do, and they've just ignored her? Do they think she's a selfish brat? What? For background, I had to go to a meeting at my child's daycare with 2 other parents. I, female 28, am Norwegian, and I have a very Scandinavian/Norwegian name. It's very common in my country, but I've never met anyone outside Scandinavia that can pronounce it right. Also, I live in an English-speaking country now. My husband is from here. All this is relevant for the story. Now, when I entered the meeting, I was met by the daycare owner, leader, and the 2 other parents, Elle, female 35, and Anne, female 38. The conflict is really between their 2 kids, and it's really tense between them. I only had to go to this meeting because my child got in the middle of the last conflict the 2 kids had, and she got a small injury. So when I go into the meeting, Elle was the first to greet me, and she basically said, "Hello, I'm Elle, Theo's mother." Important to know is that Elle is from another ethnicity than the country we are living in, and she has a very special name, native to her country, and I've never heard it before. Anyway, I said hello back, and she got annoyed that I didn't greet her back using her name. Like I said, "Hello, I'm Maya's mom." She asked that I use her name, so I did, but I didn't say it completely right, and this made her even more annoyed, and she said something like, "I really expect people to show enough respect for my culture. Please learn to say my name right." I apologized, told her I understood. No one here can say my name right either, and I asked her to repeat her name once more. This really didn't help. She was still annoyed and insisted I repeat her name until I said it right. When I did, she huffed and said it shouldn't be this hard to show respect. This kinda ticked me off, so I replied back that then I expected the same respect from her, told her my name, and asked her to please greet me by my name. Of course she couldn't, and although she did try, she couldn't say it right. Then I told her that she shouldn't expect more from people than she could do herself. The meeting continued. I went home and told my husband. He laughed but said that it was kind of a nasty thing to do because I knew she wouldn't be able to say my name like it's supposed to be said. Which is true. Like I said, my name is really hard to say right. My husband still can't, so I use a nickname. And I don't really get mad when people struggle with my name because I understand why. Also, everyone was not in a good mood at the meeting due to why it was held, so I probably should have just let it go. So I asked my friends, and they were kind of split in the middle. Some said she got what she gave, and some said I should have just let it go. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Who tells someone their name and then immediately expects them to use it? It just seems like a really odd flow of conversation. It almost feels like she was expecting you not to be able to say her name. She was being an idiot. All you did was point out her hypocrisy. It wasn't an issue until she made it one. She got what she gave. She knows her name is difficult to say for foreigners. Forcing you to repeat it until you get it right, as if you were a child to teach to speak properly, was incredibly rude. Good for you to call her on her self-entitlement. You are not wrong, OP. You are not the idiot. Maybe now she will get off her high horse about name pronunciation. You may have saved other people grief in the future if so. My brother, 32, who we'll call Luke, is a good guy, but he's very lazy. He always wanted money but never wanted to work for it. His wife, 30, who we'll call Jane, is awesome. Me and my wife are so happy he's with her because she's just very kind and funny and has become a good friend to us as well as a family member, particularly with my wife. She has a high-paying job. She lives in a nice house, buys nice things, has a nice car, etc. My brother has a pretty normal job. He's not very ambitious, and now that he's with her, he's content with that, which is totally fine, by the way. Jane has told my wife a couple of times that she doesn't mind paying for everything, but that he doesn't like to talk about it in public and gets defensive if she mentions anything that she bought when friends or family are present. I have noticed this too. Well, my parents got vaccinated, so we all went there for dinner. It was a great time. At one point, my dad is talking about finances and saving, etc. And my brother mentions the house he bought and the car he bought. Me and my wife are rolling our eyes. Jane looks a little disgruntled. And then, at one point, he says, "Yes, we have a simple relationship with money. I make it, she spends it." Like a joke. But joking about the wrong thing, if that makes sense, because he's alluding to the fact that this is true. So I say, "Luke, that's a bit unfair. Jane is the breadwinner in your household, and she bought the house and car, didn't she?" He laughs and says, "No." So I don't bother after that. He called me later and blasted me, saying it was none of my business, and so what if she bought those things? I said he should be a little more appreciative and respectful. We haven't spoken since, and my mom and dad are annoyed that I said it because it made dinner awkward. Edit, Jane appreciated it. You are not the idiot. I was originally going to say, you were wrong, because it wouldn't be your place to tell anyone about your brother and his wife's finances. But it sounds to me like you were just trying to defend your sister-in-law from your brother's comments, which weren't just untruthful, but purposefully mean-spirited at his wife's expense. Maybe not the most opportune time to put him on blast, but he was lying and making rude jokes about his wife and making her embarrassed and uncomfortable, and you came to her defense. So you are not the idiot. Your brother, however, is a massive loser, and I hope his wife keeps her finances separate. You are not wrong, but doesn't everyone at the table already know their financial situation? If it was just your parents and siblings. Still now, he probably will not be pulling that again, so it's for the best. He had to learn sometime. Out of curiosity, what was your response to Jane? I feel like she needs to seriously have a talk with this dude, because if anything, she should be the one that's upset. You are all idiots here, except the wives. Your brother is insecure and was rude to his wife. This was wrong on so many levels. You're rude because what you said was uncalled for. Their money is theirs, not yours. What they want to say about it is up to them. There was no reason to say what you said, except to embarrass your brother. If you said, "That's not fair. You're married and have joint finances, so you both paid," that wouldn't have been rude. Just because someone is rude doesn't mean you have to be rude back.